Welcome back, Focus Learners. Today, we're jumping right into another explainer where we take complex ideas and map them out so you can grasp them quickly and effectively. We're doing something a bit different this time. We're breaking down the theory by looking at a fascinating and, frankly, very blunt philosophy on evaluating a prospective spouse. We're pulling directly from a lecture by the speaker Jungbub 2013, who presents this highly pragmatic, almost mathematical approach to modern marriage. So if you're tired of the usual romantic advice, well, this explainer is going to give you an entirely new, deeply analytical framework to consider. Let's get into it. You know that cultural narrative we're all fed? The one that tells you to hold out for the perfect partner. You know exactly the type. Someone who's incredibly nice, highly educated, and independently wealthy. We're essentially told to seek out the total package. But the source material we're examining today throws a massive wrench right into that romanticized myth. It argues that searching for someone who has it all isn't just unrealistic. It's actually a fundamental misunderstanding of how the forces of modern society operate. Basically, looking for perfection is setting yourself up for a fundamentally flawed match. Section 1. Modern Marriage's Two Forces. Okay, let's dive right into this. To understand why seeking the total package is such a trap, we first have to understand the source's foundational premise about how our modern society is divided. According to the lecture, roughly 30 years ago, people generally struggled together on a much more even playing field. But today, society has specialized, splitting into two totally distinct powers: knowledge and economy. The source proposes this strict law of nature here. You cannot easily possess both powers simultaneously. If you dedicate your life to studying and building deep intellect, you inherently sacrifice the time and focus required to build immense wealth. And on the flip side, if a family focuses entirely on building an economic empire, they won't naturally cultivate deep, scholarly knowledge. The universe, according to this theory, just doesn't allow one person to hold both immense wealth and immense intellect right out of the gate. And this brings up a brilliant point about needing to break free from old ways of thinking. There's this old Korean proverb that says pine caterpillars must stick to eating pine needles, which essentially means you should stick to your own kind, or just stay in your lane. But the speaker humorously completely dismantles this, saying, no, they'd love to eat ginseng leaves if they could. The point here is that we absolutely must drop that past, outdated thinking. In today's highly specialized society, sticking to someone with your exact same background or skill set is a total recipe for stagnation. You have to look for what you lack. Section 2, the law of complementary powers. So the crucial point is, if you can't have both powers yourself, what are you supposed to do? The logical conclusion is that opposites absolutely must unite to survive and thrive. If your focus on knowledge limits your wealth, and a focus on economy limits your knowledge, then an educated person without money completely needs to meet a wealthy person who lacks deep education. Why? Because the intellectual needs the wealthy person's financial backing so they don't have to worry about basic survival, stuff like food, clothing, and shelter. That allows them to fully utilize their knowledge for the world. Meanwhile, the wealthy person desperately needs the intellectual's wisdom to navigate life and actually apply their wealth meaningfully. They're literally two halves of a whole. Section 3, why opposites often fail. Now, what's really interesting here is that conceptually, uniting opposites makes perfect sense, right? But if it's such a perfect system, why do so many of these unions end in total disaster? Well, the specific dynamic that ruins these relationships is intellectual arrogance. When a highly educated person meets a wealthy partner who lacks formal education, the intellectual often makes a fatal flaw. They look down on their partner. They silently or even verbally dismiss them as empty-headed, a tin can, or just someone who got lucky making a buck. The source argues that the very second the intellectual shows this disdain, they instantly lose their right to live with that person. The relationship crumbles, not because of a lack of love, but because of a lack of fundamental respect for their partner's complementary power. Section 4. True synergy through respect. So, if arrogance is the poison, what exactly is the antidote? How do we actually merge these two forces successfully? Well, it requires a massive paradigm shift. The speaker asserts that true intellectuals do not exist for themselves, and they certainly don't exist to feel superior. True intellectuals exist strictly for those who lack knowledge. If you're truly smart, your job is to use your knowledge to respect, guide, and serve your partner who lacks it. By showing this genuine humility, the intellectual actually earns the deep respect and the willing financial backing of their wealthy partner. It becomes this beautiful cycle of mutual validation. Let's move along and see how this builds into a functioning roadmap for a successful union. First up, you must coldly acknowledge your own lack, whether that's a lack of money or a lack of knowledge. Second, you must deeply respect the other person's strength and never, ever dismiss it. And third, when these two forces combine with that mutual respect, they create an incredibly powerful synergy. The source notes that when this happens, the couple isn't just surviving anymore. They're actually equipped to do incredible, highly impactful things for society, which earns them both profound respect from the world. Section 5, Why Being Nice Fails. Okay, we've covered intellect and wealth, but we need to pivot to the final and, frankly, most provocative argument in the source material: kindness. Ask yourself this stark question: is it enough to find a partner who is simply nice? Conventional wisdom often tells us that, hey, even if someone is poor or lacks drive, as long as they have a good heart and are genuinely nice, they're a great catch. The source material violently rejects this notion. It offers a highly pragmatic, borderline harsh assessment of pure kindness in the modern world. Here's the impartial reality as presented by the lecturer. First, naive kindness without the actual capability to back it up inevitably leads to suffering and tears. If you're just nice but have no skills or power, you're going to be pushed to the brink. Second, this kind of weakness actively invites exploitation. People will take advantage of you. But the third point is the most striking. By allowing yourself to be constantly used just because you're too nice, you're actually creating the seeds of evil in society. You're enabling bad behavior in others by being an easy target. According to this philosophy, being naively nice isn't a virtue at all. It's an active detriment to both yourself and the entire world around you. So, we finally arrive at this cool-headed reality. Kindness, without capability, only breeds suffering. The speaker is urging us to look at the world with a cold, clear-eyed realism. A functional, successful marriage isn't built on naive sweetness or the impossible dream of finding a perfect partner who just has everything. It's built on a brutally honest assessment of what you lack, finding the exact opposite power in a partner, and treating their differences with profound humility and respect. So I'll leave you with this to consider. Are your romantic ideals actually setting you up for suffering? Or are you finally ready to embrace the cold, powerful reality of complementary forces? Think about that as you navigate your own relationships. Until next time, keep learning and keep looking closely at the reality in front of you.